Good morning, everybody. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of GAR Capital. It is Thursday, August 22nd, 2024. Glad to be with you this morning. Markets are looking green, at least. We just got some headlines come in, so let's go ahead and go over it. Dow futures are up 54 points. NASDAQ's up 0.37%, with the S&P up about a quarter point. The Russell is up 0.04% after having a green day yesterday. I didn't have a podcast episode yesterday because really yesterday nothing happened. It was just a slop chop fest with not much going on. Now, it was something that we prepared for in our minds as traders as just, hey, this week might be a little quiet. Monday wasn't quiet, but seeing how Tuesday and Wednesday went, expectations of any kind of moves happening today was pretty low anyway. So the market being green is nice, but we haven't broken yet. So we'll take a look at some levels together. Dollar index is at 101.26. That's actually up today, 0.22%. Finally, right? It actually hit the $100 handle. So down we go. 1602 for the VIX. That is actually up. We were actually up yesterday, I think around 1750. It's now down about 1.48%. Markets are green, pretty normal. Crude oil down, is up 0.31%. Crude oil's had 6 straight losing sessions. So lower gas prices are on the way. $2.21 for gasoline futures, 0.53%. Again, guys, this is seasonal. We're getting out of the summer driving season. Kids are going back to school. People are not vacationing as much or kind of winding down their vacation. Kind of the fall start of the year, let's just say, and usually kind of when volumes pick up in the stock market, more buying and such and more selling is actually after Labor Day. And after Labor Day is kind of when the election season really heats up. So prepare for a little more volatility. Let's start taking a look at possibly some protection. Yes, we're starting to get to some points here on these markets where, hey, we may be due for a little bit of a pullback. I know, sounds horrible to say, but let's take a look at NASDAQ rather quickly. And you can see 19,994. We've been talking about that 20,000 level for a while. We're at 10 points now. And this is the reason. And again, we could break out above it, no problem, and snatch about 100 points to 20,092. But the only concern I have is if we're getting overbought going into the season. Let me see if did I have the wrong one? No, excuse me. What I wanted to add was the RSI. Here we go. All right. So we're not quite overbought yet, but we're getting rather close. Okay. And the last time we were at this point of overbought or getting near that point of overbought was right around the 16th of July. Okay. So 16th of July was right here near the local top and pulled back. So yes, we could get a blow off top here, maybe with a dovish Powell who will speak tomorrow. That's definitely a possibility. But start looking at some protection, some volatility protection, guys. What's the way to do it? You can do VXX. You can start looking at puts. And again, it's not going to happen overnight. The question really remains, what is the Fed going to say? Are we going to get 50 basis points? We had the meeting minutes yesterday. 25 basis points, like we've been saying for months, is confirmed for September. That's been priced in. Are we going to get 50? And it's one thing, but market doesn't like is missed expectations. They don't like it. And the market throws a tantrum when things don't go exactly what they want. Take a look here. Jobless claims, 232,000 met expectations. So we don't have this labor shock. Yesterday, we had revisions to the jobs numbers that we've had. And again, that's normal. Revisions happen. When it comes to non-farm payroll reports, those are considered flash numbers. What flash numbers means are initial readings. And then when you have final numbers, like final GDP, final PMIs, that sort of thing, that's the final reading with all revisions taking place. We had the biggest downward revision in jobs since 2009, but yet employment has gone higher. Not unemployment. Employment went up 1% on the rolling 52 weeks, that where we had the revision of the jobs number coming down. So the market was kind of like, is this good news, bad news? Well, if the job market is weak, that's going to make wages more go lower, obviously, and that reduces inflation. So maybe the market kind of wants a little bit of a weakening labor market because then they'll get the cuts faster. Or do we still want a strong consumer like we've seen with the conference calls of Target and Walmart and TJX? Which one is it? Pick your path there. But with volatility possibly coming as we probably get to overbought conditions. We're not there quite yet. Let's see if 19,000 breaks on the NASDAQ. It's looking like we're going to get pretty darn close. And let's just say we reject. Now we can do puts, or you can take a look at VXX for some possible calls. Now we'd have to look at the volume. So right now, when it comes to charting volatility charts or VIX, it's kind of redundant because what is volatility more than anything else? Volatile. So right now on VXX on the daily, rejecting the 20-day. All right, so that's where we are currently. This is the, let me see which one this one. I don't know what this is. This is the 100-day. This is the, let me remove this one. Edit. That's the 9-day. Let me remove this one. Okay. Remove that moving average. And then I don't need that. All right, great. So volatility index, again, below the 50-day currently, but start looking at the volumes chain for VXX. If we start getting a little bit of a push higher in volatility, volatility is cheap now. Buy insurance when you can, not when you need it. That's kind of how it works when it comes to buying insurance, whether it's in your car or your home or even your portfolio if you're a day trader. Let's remove this study. All right. One name that's standing out to me, and I saw some volume yesterday, was DraftKings. Okay, so we got this 150-day moving average. I want that to break first. Now, we have two ways to trade this. We get above the 50-day and we get in and we'll get to 37.44 to around the 38 level. Or we wait for the 37.44 breakout, which is my preference, and then we get to 39.19. So keep an eye on the 39 calls right around September, first week of football season. Seasonally speaking, DraftKings does well, obviously, in football season. So prepare for a little bit of a nice little boost to the online and fantasy football portal or setup. Let's go and answer some questions. Good morning. Good morning. Could we take a look at Upstart? Sure. Upstart was a trade that I did a couple weeks back, did not work out. Of course, since we got that flush, I talked about the breakout, and what happens? We broke out. It's all about timing, guys. I had Upstart calls. I believe it was the 32 strike. Upstart is now at 40. Another day at the track team. But yes, it is a breakout. Next target is right around 50. Keep an eye on the volume. If you get above 41.15, that'll probably be a confirmation. I think I'm going to step away from Upstart because this just breaks my heart. Just looking at it after I close those calls worthless. So timing is everything, unfortunately, in options. And Upstart didn't work out for us. But if anyone who had a longer expiry or owns the stock, congratulations. Well done. Let's take a look at 3M. 3M. Oh, the chemical company is starting to rock, starting to break out on the weekly. So let's wait for 3M until the end of the week. And depending on where we close, that's where we need to start looking at some volume, because we were just here July 2022 and we rejected. So this could be possibly double top, or we can get a nice cup and handle where we get a little bit of a pullback. We're above the 200 week moving average. That's very key. But let's wait for the close of the week. This weekly candle needs to close. It's been 3 consecutive weekly candles. It's been 4 of the last 5. So obviously there's momentum there. Just wait for confirmation. We all know the saying, measure twice, cut once. NVIDIA puts. Well, I would skip NVIDIA, and for the simple reason for next week, because they have earnings next week, and I don't know what their earnings are going to be, let alone what the response is going to be. But you have 2 options here. You can, once you get above 130, which you're about to, you can play the run up to 135 for the end of this week. That is risky level A. It'll be cheaper, but you have exposure to Powell speaking. That's one way to do it. Or you do the 135 calls for next week, which are going to be very expensive. And if you're just playing that level there, you're more than likely better off served to do the 140s. It's a breakout. Momentum is moving higher. The question remains, is it overbought? So let's take a look at it. Not yet. You're at a 60. So my opinion, 135 looks like it's coming. If you guys want to take a ride on the wild side, you do the 135 calls for tomorrow with Powell, and you save yourself the coin before the earnings. Maybe you get the run up. Okay. So that's how NVIDIA looks. But in terms of puts, you have to get below 125 and you're already at 130. So there's your pivot point, 125 for support. And if it does drop, you go to 120, which is your 50-day. 4:30 calls on Microsoft for this week. Microsoft is a name I've been having my eye on. Let's go to the hourly. 426.74 is what I'm looking for. So I don't know if we'll get that this week. If we break that out, we're going to 435. I prefer the 435 calls for next week rather than the 430 calls for Microsoft this week. And Microsoft's down a little bit because Snow reported earnings and they missed their guidance. Our guidance expectations was weak. So we got that pullback from 137 to 121. It's still the computer software space. Microsoft's probably going to chop around on that news for now. So not the best, not the worst, but that's where we are currently. I'm not a huge fan of Snowflake. I think the cloud sector is rather saturated. I think you stick to Amazon, AWS, and Microsoft with Azure. And if you like Google, it's really because YouTube is amazing. Let's be real. Hello, Carlos. Long time. What's your opinion on Disney, Boeing, and Roblox if you have time? Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look at Disney. Disney may have hit that support at 85 with that downside gap to fill. There's no upside gaps that I see other than over here at 114. If you wanted to trade Disney, be careful. You have a death cross. You have the 50 below the 200 day. So if anything, you're probably selling the rips instead of buying the dips for now. And the only way this would change, in my opinion, is if you get at least above 95, maybe, or maybe 100 to confirm. If you get above the 200 day, maybe we can talk about the trend possibly flipping. But until then, it's sell the rips on Disney. Let's see on Boeing. Boeing is kind of just consolidating around this 175, 180 area. Very volatile. So let's see if we get above 180, 115, and then probably get to around here, 191, which is the next resistance. Doesn't look that great, to be quite honest. And you're below the 200, just like Disney. So if anything, you're probably looking for a breakdown below 160, and then we could short. So Boeing would definitely be on the list if we break down. Roblox, 4703. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6-time top. Yeah, that's resistance, all right. Get above 4703, and then we can talk about Roblox because it's been stuck. That's all it is, stuck in the mud here. Not much to do there on Roblox. So until you get above 4703, it's kind of a just chop. BABA, very similar to Roblox, just chop here. You got to get above, what is this level here? 90. So right around 90 is what we're looking for a break. And then you can target 95 to 100 calls. But until then, no dice. There's better setups out there. I think DraftKings is a better setup. For example, I think Apple is going to break out. I think Qualcomm is going to break out. NASDAQ is going to break out too. We're almost at 20K. Once we break that, the question to me is how much more do we have? Next resistance higher would be around 20,142. I'm just worried about that RSI getting overbought. That's all. Like, give the market a reason to sell, especially ahead of Labor Day. A lot of other headlines, election stuff, such and so forth. Always something to worry about. Yeah, a lot of knocks on the door on Roblox. Yeah, eventually you're going to break. Just wait for the break. That's it. So we're 10 points away from the break on 20,000. If you're a podcast listener, if you've been watching this video, we've been talking about NASDAQ pretty much since 19,000, just playing the run up, and it's been quite a run. So let's make the most of it with the break if we get it. And I'm hoping that we do. So again, my point being, I think we go higher. Yes. I think we go higher until the end of the week. Yes. NVIDIA is a big deal next week, and we need to prepare if it underwhelms. I think NVIDIA does great, but it's the expectation. People get let down. So just remember that. So 20,164, if we can maybe snag it there. But if you get above 20, really above 20,000 to me is saying that all-time highs are right there. So let's see if we break it. Jackson Hole, right. That's tomorrow and Saturday. But tomorrow is Powell speaking. And who knows what he's going to say. But 25 basis points is baked into the system. So let's see. Palantir above 33. Yeah, it's going to break. I mean, it's a beautiful chart, beautiful break. Just got to wait for this little chop action. You remember from last week when we had Palantir calls? Oh, man, that was a grind. They really make you work for these trades here with this stock. And it's been melting up very, very slowly is all. Have a great rest of your day, guys. I will see you later for the podcast, and I'll catch you on the server. Cheers all.